Another common suggestion. God damn. We're gonna keep this short. Let's go talk about how to save time in the gym. My first tip here is to plan your program ahead. So there aren't a lot of things as inefficient as walking into the gym without a plan. You're wasting a lot of time trying to figure out which exercises you want to do, how many reps, how many sets, and all the other factors that can affect your training. My next tip here is to... There's construction beside me. My second tip is to match your schedule. So this is pretty simple, but I feel like a lot of people get carried away. They end up forcing themselves to run, let's say, a 6-day program when they actually only have like 4 or 5 free days to train. Try it out. If you only have, let's say, a few days with an open schedule, you put most of your training there. So that might mean putting in more exercises on those days with more time, and then maybe just reducing the exercises, reducing the sets on the days that are busier. Next would be to trim down your exercise selection. This sort of just means reducing all of the junk volume. So if you have any exercises that you don't necessarily feel or you don't really understand, and if you feel like it's not really producing that much stimulus, then it might be a good decision to cut it out. Also, if you find yourself still doing like 8, 9, 10 exercises a day, I would expect you'd be spending a lot of time in the gym. Just my personal take on this, I do feel like somewhere between 5 to 7 exercises would actually give you the best results in terms of, again, being efficient and being able to push yourself throughout the session. Another common suggestion that I see people bring up all the time is to use supersets. Assuming you're doing supersets of opposing muscle groups or supersets that don't involve any of the same muscle groups at all, it might actually help. But what I've found with myself and with my clients is that if you can program properly, you can get the most out of, let's say, your 5 to 6 to 7 exercises per day with the adequate sets, being able to push intensity properly. You probably won't be needing to do supersets all the time. Also, just a couple of things to remember when you're doing supersets. Even though you think you're doing opposing muscle groups, let's say you're doing a barbell squat and a good morning, even though the squat hits your quads and the good mornings hit your hamstrings, they also hit your glutes, they also hit your lower back, so just be careful. So if you're gonna do supersets, try to keep them closer to your isolation exercises or that don't require a lot of extra stability. Another similar trick is to do circuits. Honestly, circuits are fun. I feel like getting more than one additional exercise per set does give you more time to recover, and by the time you get back to the first exercise, you're actually pretty well rested as opposed to a superset. However, even if doing circuits can help you save time, just remember that there are other people in the gym who are also trying to get themselves in and out of the gym as fast as possible. So don't be an asshole. If you're gonna do circuits, make sure it's at a time when there aren't a lot of people using the equipment, and try your best to get it done as fast as you can. You might also want to consider the equipment placement. Plan which pieces of equipment you're going to use ahead of time. It might help you speed things up if you're using the same pieces of equipment. Let's just say last week I was doing barbell squats followed by barbell good mornings. So that allowed me to use the same piece of equipment. I was using the rack, same rack height. Just pull down the weights, and then I was good to go for that second exercise. You can also try doing multiple dumbbell exercises at a time or multiple cable exercises at a time. That just reduces a lot of the time wasted. It might also be something to consider when you're doing something like supersets or circuits. Make sure they're all lined up or they're all nearby so you don't have to spend so much time walking from one end to the other. Now, I'm sure a lot of people also do this, but to save time, try to time your rests. In most cases, for me, if I'm doing a compound exercise, I would usually take around 3 to 5 minutes, sometimes longer than 5 minutes. And for isolation exercises or just less taxing or lighter loads, I would usually go around 2 to 3 minutes of rest before moving on to the next set. But if you're in a rush, you can probably go towards the lower end, maybe somewhere around 90 seconds for your isolation stuff, and maybe around 2 to 3, actually probably just 3 minutes on your compound exercises. Now, timing your rests might not really save that much time, but it does help you from getting too distracted. Keeps you from accidentally resting for like 10 minutes, 20 minutes, which does happen to me. Sometimes I just catch myself on my phone, which leads me to my next point. This is probably going to be sort of an underrated tip, but try to bring a logbook, as in a physical logbook, to track your lifts. I mean, I'm sure we're all used to logging our lifts on our phones, but as I've said, it is fairly common to find yourself mindlessly scrolling through your feed, accidentally watching a YouTube video that's 20 minutes long. Another advantage of using your logbook, whether physical or through your phone, is that because now you know what you've lifted, you can make a proper assessment before your next training day on what you might be able to lift on your next session. If you found this informative, if you learned something from this, do leave a thumbs up, leave a comment below, subscribe to the channel, and I will see you guys in the next one.